You may be getting tired of me talking about this, but you just do not know how upsetting it is to have, I keep calling them cops, but they're Fish and Game, and believe me, they have the power of state police, and they can do far more work. They can take your automobile, they can take your guns. That's how much power and authority they've given these idiots. My wife is still very upset about this. This was very upsetting to her. It was upsetting to me, but I let my upset come out. She gets upset and, she blames me. How could I possibly know that joking about Baby Raccoon being a kitten would get the Fish and Game at my door? Who could have known? So, my entire life, when I realized, I'm going to start at the beginning. You may not want to hear this. When I joined the Army, first of all, I didn't have a good relationship with my father. Later on, as an adult, I began to realize that much of the problem that I had with my dad was me. I just drank a Mountain Dew, so I'm going to burp. It was me having a real problem with authority and people telling me what to do. I am a very headstrong, determined person, and when I want to do something, there's not much that can deter me from doing it. I'm not talking about anything illegal. I'm talking about going my own way, doing my own thing. And I have never been one that didn't want to be around people. I just didn't want people controlling me, controlling my life, telling me what I can and can't do. So and then I joined the Army, and I realized very quickly that I was not a guy that was cut out for taking orders. And, I lasted 3 years. I couldn't have spent any more time than that in the Army. So when I got out, I realized that I was going to probably have to work for myself. And here's the weird thing. I can remember my dad word for word. My dad was self-employed his whole life. His entire life. He had a welding shop, radiator shop, wood stove, aluminum siding, and for the same reason that he couldn't take orders. He didn't like people telling him what to be. And me and my dad are very similar in that respect, which may be, the older I get, the more I find similarities between myself and my father, which may be part of the problem we had, Anyway, so because of that, I've gone to great lengths to avoid cops. And, I was an owner-operator. Trucking attracted me because even when I wasn't an owner-operator, once you get in the truck, you're on your own. The only people that you come in contact with that have any control over your life is the million different forms of law enforcement that regulate, control, ticket truck drivers and trucking. So I always kept my logbook right up to date. I kept a squeaky clean truck with every light bulb working and brakes adjusted because I did not want to be hassled by the cops. And even though, I always kept my equipment tip-top, I still had tickets written. So I developed, over 35 years, I developed a genuine hatred for cops. And, I really tried to, I knew I shouldn't hate all cops. But all cops I came in contact with wanted one thing: into my wallet. Or to cause me personally as much trouble and pain as they could. And I'm not stupid. I never smart-mouthed cops. I was nothing but polite. If they said jump, I'd say how high. And except last night. At my age now, I really don't care. Send me to jail. I mean, I got all kinds of medical problems. Let it be your problem. So I don't care anymore. I'm not going to hold my tongue anymore. So I got nothing to lose. So perhaps part of the problem with me, I don't fish. I don't fish because I don't want people hassling me for a fishing license or my boat registration, or if I got life preservers for everybody, or what kind of fish I got, and if it was the proper length. You know what I mean? It just never ends. You can't get badges out of your freaking life, no matter what you do. I don't hunt because they'll come up to you in the woods and give you the third degree. Though, if you got a shotgun and you're hunting squirrel, you can only have so many rounds in it, and it's got to have a plug in it. And they go to great lengths to try to ensnare you in the system and ticket you and fine you and take property. And so I don't hunt because I don't want the hassle of fishing game, and I don't fish for the same reason. And now that I'm older, I don't leave my yard much, and when I do exactly the speed limit. I use my turn signals because I don't want to be hassled by cops. I don't want to talk to them. And there's times when I go to a restaurant, if there's cops in there, I go somewhere else. I don't want to be around cops. Now, I do know a couple of cops who ride motorcycles, and we've had good times. I don't know what they're like once they get in the car. I got a video right here on YouTube of me riding an hour, and half of that was behind a sheriff's deputy that's with the Patriot Guard. Retired, old guy, nice guy. Who knows what he's like when he gets in his car and he's got the gun on his hip and he's got this power over people that destroy their lives or severely, significantly alter it. And so I have learned, I just don't know what to say without sounding like myself a loon, but you would not believe the loons that I have encountered in the trucking world, the loony badge holders that I've encountered. Here's one I never told you, and this is just an everyday occurrence of the power trip that most cops are on. This happened in Abilene, Texas, on I-20. I'm on Interstate 20 with a 53-foot trailer and a very long truck. I'm in the right lane, going the speed limit, and a cop is coming down the on-ramp, right? Well, I look in my mirror to see if I can move over and help the cop. I would do it for anybody, not just a cop. Well, I've got two cars beside me, so I can't move over. So I took my foot off the gas and started slowing down. Well, instead of speeding up and getting in front of me, he stays beside me and then starts driving down the breakdown lane instead of speeding up and getting in front of me or slowing down and getting behind me like any other person would have to do. This guy is pissed that I can't get over. I got two cars beside me. What am I going to do? Run them over? So finally, he speeds up. He gets in front of me. He comes over in front of me just as close as he can. And he hits his brakes. A state cop did that to me in an 18-wheeler. And I'm telling you, I have encountered cops like that with bad tempers and would do really ridiculously dangerous things like that because they have a badge and they can get away with it. Now, this was before everybody had a camera. I'm telling you, cops got to be really on the lookout now because everybody's got a camera. And dash cam, and they have cameras. So I don't think they can do that much bad stuff to people like that cop did to me in Abilene without it being a big deal or somebody finding out, or even a TV station. They love that crap. So that's the cop I ran across all the time. I didn't run across normal, honest, honorable, decent brave men who were doing a dangerous job helping people. I ran across loons who were power drunk, who wanted to inflict as much pain and extract as much money as they possibly could from you. And that's the guys I met. That's the cops I met constantly. Every scale, every county, every state cop, every city cop. I had a cop pull me over one time and tell me, it was like 3 a.m. Charlie was sleeping. And he pulls me over. And he comes up. I have no idea what I did. I wasn't speeding. I was the only car out there, so it's not like I was passing somebody. He comes up and he says, "You went over the GRAW line, Graw." I said, I didn't understand what he was saying. He goes, your tire went over the graw line. I said, I don't know what a graw line is, sir. I have no idea what you're telling me I did. Well, it was a windy day, right? And I don't know if you've ever seen 18-wheelers on windy days. They get blown all over the place. It's the size of a billboard. It's 53 feet long and 13 and a half feet tall. A gust of wind moves you before you can even correct the steering. So the guy pulls me over because a tire went over a painted line on the road, the graw line. That's what I came to understand what a graw line was. So this is a city cop, bored, I guess he was bored. So now he's treating me like I'm a criminal or a bank robber. He's not treating me like a regular citizen. He's treating me like somebody who's committed a major crime. And, I got out of there without a ticket. What he wanted to do was for me to smart mouth him and argue with him so he could justify going a little deeper and taking this graw line violation to another level. I wasn't stupid. I had figured these cops out early in my life. I met a bunch of them like that. I had some call me names to try and get me to react in a way that they could elevate this situation from a simple ticket to a, even greater. I think they're just bored, and it was always the night shift cops that did that. So I have grown to hate cops. Let me rephrase that. I've grown to hate contact with cops. I don't want to be pulled. I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to be pulled over. I don't want them asking me, where are you headed tonight? None of their business. These cops that came up here last night, they stopped at my gate. And thank God, because I was so mad. If they were inside my gate, I don't know how I would have reacted differently. I was already pissed that they were so stupid that they couldn't invest 5 seconds of time to see the comments I left about a baby raccoon being a kitten. That's what they were here over. Can you believe it? Talk about not having enough to do. And those are the kind of cops I've come across all my life. Frickin' Looney Tune cops who... So I have developed this hatred, and you got to understand, it's not a hatred for cops. It's a hatred for coming in contact with. I want nothing to do with them. Cops are bad news when they get in your life. There's no good encounter. You can't come away from an encounter with a cop and have a positive outcome. There's always something. It's going to cost you money. It's going to cause you trouble. Last night, I didn't care. And that was the first time I have ever gone off on cops. And I'm telling you, I almost feel sorry. But I am tired of being pushed around and having to avoid cops for fear of this kind of encounter, or the encounters that I've had in the past with cops. So I go to great lengths to not have any encounters with cops. And I don't break the law. I'm not a thief. I don't do drugs. I don't drink at all. I don't fish because I don't want to mess with cops. I don't hunt because I don't want to mess with cops. I don't have a boat because I don't want to have to mess with cops. And I stay behind my fence and I go out as little as possible because I don't want to run the risk of having to be pulled over by a cop. So that's the world I live in. And my wife, just this morning, she said, "Why, you always attract these kind of people." And I do. Maybe like I'm an idiot magnet. I don't know. But all my life, those are the kind of cops I've encountered. The nut jobs. And rarely, I have to really think hard to think about cops that pulled me over and were decent and honorable men, just, keeping everybody safe and upholding the law, and weren't trying to ruin me or get into my wallet deeply. Here's an example. Tennessee. It got harder and harder to write tickets to people, right? In Tennessee, truck drivers. Because they raised the national speed limit. This was shortly after the national speed limit raised from 55 to 65. So they resorted to some pretty nefarious means of writing tickets. Here's what they would do. They would call you in. They would look at your logbook. This was back in the day when you actually hand wrote out a logbook and drew lines on it. And if you got through another state at a higher rate of speed on your logbook than that state's truck speed limit, they would write you a ticket in the state of Tennessee for speeding in another state and get away with it. And then here's the kicker. A couple months later, you'd also get another ticket called an environmental ticket. $200-300 back. I'm talking about early 90s. Now it's way more than that. An environmental ticket because speeding created more pollution. I mean, everybody had their hand in the truck driver's pocket. And I have learned to despise people with badges and avoid them like the plague. And that's what I do now. When they showed up on my steps, boy, did it piss me off. As much effort as I put into avoiding that, I'm getting myself mad again, and I shouldn't, because, you know, I may go the rest of my life never seeing another cop, and I hope so. But sure am tired of being bullied. And that's what I think of cops now, is just bullies with badges.